AutoLine on the Road from the North American International Auto Show in Detroit is brought to you by our signature sponsor, Continental Structural Plastics, the superheroes of vehicle lightweighting, and also by Rosa, excellence in mechatronics, Hella, technology with vision, and by Ram Truck, built to serve.
Karim Habib is the Executive Design Director for Infiniti. You've got this QX Inspiration concept car that you guys are telling us that this shows the new form language going forward for Infiniti, is that right?
Yes.
And what should we be looking for in that vehicle?
Well, it's the first vehicle for Infiniti, or it previews the first vehicle for Infiniti that is our EV, electric vehicle. So, as you know, going to EV, it changes a lot of things, right? So the proportions change completely. We don't have an engine, so we have a longer cabin, or we have a longer, let's say, a shorter hood. We have a longer cabin. We're able to take the HVAC and put it in the front compartment. So it also changes the proportions of the interior, how we construct the interior. So the form language is also basically based on the fact that the technology changes, and we want the form language to illustrate that.
So let's start at the front end.
Yeah.
What kind of design elements have you incorporated? And again, especially point out how this is going to be the new face of Infiniti.
Well, one of the obvious things is when you go EV, you don't need as much cooling as you do in a normal engine. So we don't have a grille per se, but we try to still design a recognizability. And obviously one of the things that you can do is the badge or the naming. So we have a badge. The Infiniti badge is actually quite an amazing badge. It has the infinite road. So what we did is we took the current one and we made it more three-dimensional, where the actual, the infinite road goes in, and we backlit it. So sort of at the end of that road, there's a light. So it's kind of a symbol, if you will, for our electrified future. So we made that bigger, very central. We have the word type below, but we also kept a kind of a frame. There's some lines around it that echo, if you will, a little bit the double arch grille that Infiniti has today.
I imagine too you've got much shorter overhangs than you would otherwise.
Yes.
Especially at the rear, where you don't have to package an exhaust system and a muffler and a gas tank and all that.
Yeah. I mean, the one of the things as well that EVs require is long wheelbase, because you put the battery packs between the wheels. So that allows us to have the wheels at the corner, have the short overhangs front and rear, and we can have big wheels. Designers, we like those big wheels, so we try to use that to the maximum.
Let's talk the interior. What did you do with that?
Well, that, the great thing is, again, this sort of moving this HVAC towards the front, so the air conditioning system, and having a flat floor. Once we took these things away, we started looking at it, and we realized that it's not just about designing the objects themselves, like the seats and the console. It's about designing the space. Because usually, today you have this dash in front of you, you have this tunnel, and it helps give you a feeling of safety. It helps the feeling of sort of driving coziness, if you will. So how do you work when you don't have these elements? And that was a big part of what we did, what we experimented with, and we started designing it more as a living space rather than just a driving space.
So you're almost like designing nothing, right? You're designing to put space in there.
Yes, I mean, that's true. In a way, it's a little bit like architecture. Architects design, not obviously just the walls and things, but how you move in a space, how you are in space, how light falls into a space. And that kind of got closer to what we were doing.
Okay, QX Inspiration is something of a concept, but
Yeah.
they tell me not that much of a concept, right? That it's pretty close to what we're going to see in a couple of years?
Well, it's still a concept, but we try to build things or do concepts of vehicles that we can actually build. So that's as close as it is, I would say.
Okay, but from this point forward, we're
Yeah.
going to start to see these design cues imbued in almost everything, or only the pure electrics?
Well, as we are, we've committed to basically building only electrified vehicles from 2021 on, then there won't be much of a difference between electrified and partly electrified, fully electrified and partly electrified. So it'll influence the whole palette.
So right around the corner.
Yes.
Karim Habib, thanks so much for your time
My
today.
pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Les Mass was once a mild-mannered materials engineer, working on projects with aluminum, trying to reduce component weight, and yet still have some intriguing design opportunities. Then, he discovered Continental Structural Plastics Advanced Composite Materials. Now he's a man of strength, of daring design. No one can dent his courage or tarnish his shine. No one knows how to lightweight better than Captain Les Mass. You too can be a superhero of lightweighting. Contact Continental Structural Plastics today, a Teijin Group company.